Tomorrow, President Biden is expected to announce a pathway to permanent legal status for hundreds of thousands of migrants who've been living in the United States for at least 10 years and are married to U.S. citizens. The plan would reportedly change existing laws, which would prevent illegal migrants from obtaining green cards. Meanwhile, the New York Post is reporting agencies in 49 states are providing voter registration forms to migrants without requiring proof of citizenship. Migrants can access welfare benefits, even mail-in ballot voter registration forms, while 19 states and Washington, D.C. allow non-citizens to obtain driver's licenses. Joining me right now is Georgia Congressman Richard McCormick. He is a member of the House Foreign Affairs and Armed Services Committees. Congressman, good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
You too. I want to get your reaction to this report in the New York Post. They go through several states in detail, in very explicit detail, how this is happening. But basically, a federal form, you don't have to be a citizen, or at least no proof. Legally, you do, but you don't have to prove it.
You know, if there is any doubt about what this illegal immigration, this invasion is all about, it should be dispelled now. It should be obvious what they're trying to do for the census, to reorganize where the representatives are coming from. All those states that lost representation because people migrated towards where the jobs were, where freedoms were. And now you're going to see about 15 to 20 seats, Republican seats, that will be in jeopardy because of this mass migration and representation skew now. And you can see the way they're going to try to get these people to vote into the future, to give them legal citizenship, to reward bad behavior. And you know who gets the most angry over this stuff? People who waited in line, did the right thing, came here legally, and put in the time to become citizens the right way. They get more angry than anybody.
Well, one of the things that House Speaker Mike Johnson has said is that basically President Biden has welcomed millions of illegal aliens through our borders, including sophisticated criminal syndicates and foreign adversaries. It is incumbent upon Congress, that is you, to implement greater enforcement measures that secure the voter registration process. So what can be done?
Well, first of all, each state really has control of their own destiny, because you talked about 49 out of 50 states have holes in their laws that allow people to get documentation that show that they have a legal ID here. Once again, rewarding illegal immigration. We as Congress have done some good things to secure the border, but the Senate, of course, won't uphold that. The president has gotten rid of over 60 different methods of securing the border. His last weak attempt at securing the border basically says, oh, we're going to only accept so many per year or so many per day. It's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous slant at basically getting back voters in an illegal way, because they're hemorrhaging voters because they are doing the wrong thing for this country, and the American public knows that.
All right. I want to bring in Liz Peek. She's on set with me. She's got a question for you.
Good morning, Congressman. So you are from Georgia, an incredibly important swing state where the margin of victory for Joe Biden the last time round was incredibly narrow. This is a state which is up for grabs in this election. What are you doing to make sure that in Georgia, illegal aliens are not going to vote? And that's the template, right? People have to go state by state and make sure this isn't happening. It seems to me when it was like 1,000 people at risk, or maybe 10,000, but now we've got millions of people. So tell me about Georgia. What's it going to look like?
Georgia is one of the few states that actually did some substantial things to fix our voter laws. We did at least 12 course corrections. We don't allow drop boxes anymore. Anybody who saw 2,000 Mules understands the detriment of mail-in ballots, drop boxes. Matter of fact, if you look around the world at all the countries who've gotten rid of mail-in ballots, because of the massive amount of fraud, you understand that we're on the wrong track. Georgia has tightened up his laws considerably. I think we'll have this election well in hand. Georgia is secure. We need to worry about other states like Arizona, Michigan, Pennsylvania, other states that have not fixed their laws and will be definitely in play.
I would actually argue that Arizona is the one state that has really is pushing back on this notion of letting illegal migrants vote. Just want to kind of clarify that. Let me ask you also about this, because this issue with Merrick Garland. House Speaker Johnson is still taking on Merrick Garland, but the DOJ is refusing to pursue any contempt of Congress charges against him. So Johnson says he's going to be certifying the Garland contempt reports to the U.S. Attorney for District of Columbia and will also move to enforce the subpoena of Garland in federal court. He's also calling out the department aggressively prosecuting Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro for defying congressional subpoenas, writing, "Let's yet another example of the two-tiered system of justice brought to us by the Biden administration." So, Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro, they're punished. Merrick Garland, not so much.
That's exactly the point. And I think it is going to be exposed how two-faced they are. Now, the nice thing is we don't really need those tapes to understand how much Joe Biden has lost, how much his cognition has declined. I'm an ER doc, and you can just see it from just 4 years ago and when he had already declined, how much he's having problems just walking, figure out which way to go on the stage, what to say. And as he goes on longer, he starts to mumble. He's doing all the things that people with Alzheimer's or dementia do. This is an obvious deterioration of mental state. But really, the more problematic thing with the Democratic Party is their ideas. Whether he's in perfect mental condition or not, we know that Kamala Harris would make an even worse president, and she has her faculties about her. So this is really about exposing, though, the double-minded nature of the DOJ in our areas.
Well, look, none of us are doctors. We just know that we see a president moving a little bit slower, especially over the weekend, to be clear. But certainly it's going to be interesting when this debate comes, which, again, is 10 days away.